And welcome to another edition of Community Matters. I'm Jim Cameron, your host and the program director here at Darien TV 79. As you know, being a regular viewer, Community Matters is a show where we interview folks in town who are involved in local nonprofits, non-government organizations. And our guest today has not been on the show for a long time, so she deserves to come back and visit us. Beth Paris, who is the director of the Darien Senior Activities Center. It's good to have you back on Community Matters.
It's good to be back, Jim.
So let's talk a little bit about the past and then what's going on now, and maybe what the future is going to look like. How long have you been executive director there at the Senior Center?
The department came under me in 2014 when we moved to the Mather Center. So 2009, when I came, I was the senior services coordinator under Parks and Rec. But when we moved into the Mather Center, we became a department.
Aha. And how long has there been a senior center of some sort in Darien?
Well, before me, the director was there 25 years. So, and I think it was a completely volunteer run for at least 5 years before that. So,
and the old center used to be up. What was the address and what was the name of it? It was the old school, wasn't it?
Yeah, the old school on Edgerton Street.
Right.
In Darien, yep.
Now it's as you say, 2014 is when you moved to the new center?
Correct.
Okay, so 8 years. People don't have a long memory sometimes about what the old center was like, certainly compared to the Taj Mahal that you're working out of these days. Tell us about the old center. What was it like?
Well, the old center was a school originally. So it was a grammar school that did kindergarten to third grade, I believe. And it wasn't renovated and brought up to the standards that you would think you would do when you would open another program in it. But there was something very homey about it. People knew the location, but it was very much more in need of renovation in order for it to continue the way that it did. When I came in 2009, we had probably close to 300 members. When we left, we had I know this number threw up my heart, 638 new members. And when we came to the Mather Center, in a very short time, within I think a year or two, we were up to 2,000 members. So the building itself became an ambassador and a welcomer and a part of the program, so to speak. When I came in 2009, we kind of reoriented. We were under Parks and Rec at that point, who really helped us get the building back into shape too, so that we could utilize it. And so all the programming changed. So we couldn't change so much the building that we were in, but we changed a lot of the programming. And just with the programming changed, we got many more people involved. So, but I have to say, this beautiful building, I can't take the credit for it, but we were on Edgerton Street, I was for 5 years. So it took the convincing of the wonderful community that Darien is to get the show on the road, and then all together with the renovations that came here to this building, it was 5 total years before we left the Edgerton Street address.
And now the Senior Center is in what used to be the Board of Education headquarters, which is sort of attached to Town Hall. The Board of Education moved up to the old library on Leroy, when the old library moved to the new library on the Post Road, and what was known, I guess, as the Shuffle.
Yes.
And the Senior Center probably made a best of all in terms of getting a brand new renovated building.
Exactly. And it's 12,500 square feet of usable space, usable classrooms. There's really no dead space. Even our lobbies, we use them for programming as well as nice gathering sites. But the entire building is used. And just so folks know, it's called the Mather Center because in the evening too, after 3:30, it is used by our Parks and Recreation Department for some of their programming, the Darien Arts Center as well. And though the policy remains in place, because we were moved from the Edgerton site, that the seniors would always have priority. So if there was something that I wanted to run in the evening, we would have priority. I have done caregiver educational programs in the evening. We get to use what room we want to use. We always have first dibs at this point, but it is very well utilized. Parks and Rec has put in a lot of programs since we've moved here in that evening shift. And so as the Darien Arts had consistent programs too. So.
And how many members does the senior center have now?
Now we're at 2,223 members. We are, when COVID hit, we decided that we were going to look at membership, right? Actually, prior to that, we were looking at charging a non-resident membership fee. We have no membership fee at all right now because our accessibility and our popularity, we didn't really want to usurp our Darien residents. So we were looking at kind of balancing things out with the membership fee, and also, you know, priority is always given to Darien residents for all program signups. We've been doing that since we opened. So if an activity has specific interest and it's, you know, it's filled up by Darien residents first, that's the way it goes, and everybody understands that too.
And of those 2,000 members, how many are from Darien versus out of town?
Now, I'm going to give you a little interesting tidbit because I knew you were going to ask me this. One of the good things, because I try to look at the good things in any negative happening, COVID brought us many more members. We are now close to 1,100 and a little bit more of Darien residents. And now the membership, of course, because I haven't been taking anybody in, is the balance of that is Norwalk, pretty much Norwalk and Stanford are major membership in terms of out of town. One of the wonderful things about having the vaccine clinics here for over 2 months on a Tuesday, actually in this building, is many people came into this building that had never come in that were seniors, because we specifically did that in the very beginning because of the complication of that FAM system. So we had our Darien seniors, anybody over 65 was able to come directly here on that Tuesdays without the agita of signing up. Our wonderful public health department, our human services department took that on, and it was really awesome. I was able to be at the door letting people in and out, because if you remember then we were really worried about distancing people. So as people were waiting to see if they were going to have a reaction, I was handing out newsletters and telling them about what happens in this building. Even though then we were really on virtual programming and grab and go programming, we're doing mostly. And I was doing some kind of mental health visits with people on a one-to-one, either outside or in our lobby area as the time went on, from the time that we actually had to really hunker down. So it was wonderful that people actually came in this building who never had been in the building. And there's a lot of them now that are participating on the regular here. So it's awesome. It was really, you have to look at the bright sides of things.
We're talking with Beth Paris, who is the director of the senior center here in Darien. We have a limited amount of time on this program, but go ahead. Tell us about the programs that you offer, because we could probably eat up the rest of the afternoon doing that.
Yes, and also that now that we are, I'll let you know, this is a short version. June 7th, we opened with protocols in place back in center. Prior to that, we were doing everything virtually or as on a grab and go. We did a lot of programs that were just fun that people could pick up. They could see us, we could see them, and they could have something to do in hand at home. So we were doing those kinds of programs, and then we went virtual. We had never been virtual before. That's another positive thing that came out of this, because we also connected with a lot of folks that couldn't get out. So that's a whole nother goal that we have now, is to be able to, as time goes on, even do some of our programs as hybrids, that we can do them in center and offer them to folks at home as well. But when we opened up on June 7th, it was back in center with protocols. We were fully masked. We were 6 foot distance. We had to do everything by sign up. So we were waivering all the people that came in. Right now, we're close to 458 waivers. That means that's how many people have been in the building attending programs since we opened up in June. And a room that once could have 35 people now could have 18, because we were distancing by the 6 foot distance. So that was exciting and hard work to keep that all going. But the folks that were really wanting to get out came out in large numbers and took on the sign up on the, just were wonderful about it, even though it was a little difficult for them. We're still doing the sign up. We are now down to masking like town hall does, which is if you're boosted, once you get into the room, basically, if the teacher says it's okay, because we have to have our instructors comfortable too, you can unmask if you're boosted. And there are folks that are choosing still to be masked, and that's okay too. So we have 15 exercise classes going. We have Tai Chi, we have strengthening yoga classes, we have aerobic classes, we have ballet. We are starting cornhole fun this week. We are actually managing the pickleball in the gymnasium because it's through our Darien Men's Association that we're doing that. We have lecture series, historians coming in. We have actually 3 different historians that come in to give a different talk every month. We reconnected with visiting nurse and hospice. They're back doing blood pressures and health screening, and they're back to doing a monthly health and wellness lecture with a professional, healthcare professional, either a doctor, physical therapist, somebody, their specialty, whatever their specialty is. We're also doing art classes again. Our acrylic painting teachers are back. The oil painting teachers are back. We're doing a monthly craft session again. That's always filled and fun. The woodshop donation program opened back up again. We have a wonderful volunteer, Ed Drack, who's actually the one that's managing and taking all of the projects in and then delegating them to different members. We always have to have at least 2 people in that room at a time. So we've had to schedule that as well. Our writing class is back to the exercise. We have 2 sitting exercise classes, one by another wonderful volunteer, Winifred Lum, who's a retired occupational therapist. She does a wonderful arthritis certified program. And then Elizabeth Hall, who's actually our ballet teacher, does a sitting class that's to music. That is so awesome. That's the one people are always trying to get into. We're only going to put 18 right now. We're hoping to get back to our 30 pretty soon. We have a creative writing class back. We have Spanish back, Italian culture and conversation. I think off the top of my head, those are the ones that are most filled that I can remember, but we're also adding. The other thing that we did was when we could be outside, we did entertainments on Friday. Another thing about town hall being closed, we sat everybody 6 foot distance apart in the driveway. And literally I made sure that I would throw myself if a car came to stop everybody. And we used the patio for the first time. We bought a tent over it and we had entertainments until the weather got cold. Then we went back out again. Now we are back inside doing our entertainments. And again, the cafe is distanced and we are still not inside with the meal program. That's the only thing that's still drive-through, only available to Darien residents. And we're doing between 40 and 50 meals a day. We have, it's now, I think we're up to 197 different participants in that program. So people choose what days that they want to eat here. We're going to be bringing that in probably, let's hope, in April, where we'll be back in center eating, but it's going to be different. We're not going to do the buffet the way we did before. We've bought dish systems with lids. We're going to have our wrapped utensils, and I think we're going to, moving forward, we're going to be just serving lunch instead of doing the old-fashioned cafeteria style, because it's going to be healthier all the way around. So again, the pandemic has taught us things too that we're going to, keep as best practices. But
And are most of these courses free for Darien residents, or are there fees involved?
if we're paying the instructor, then there's a $4 fee. The fee is never more than $4. If we're not, then the class is free. We do not charge for entertainments because obviously we pay our entertainers, and we don't charge for the health and wellness lectures, and we don't charge for any of our academic lectures, even we're paying those folks, because we really want people to come in. Many of the classes are very timely. We consider these classes as quality of life programs so that people really have as much information as they can about their health and wellness, their well-being, how to go to their doctors and talk to their doctors and ask questions that are more fortified because they have some knowledge about what's going on. The other large part of what I was doing the entire time myself was just the caregiver support. We have a fair amount of people that are caregiving other seniors. So it's basically people that are younger caregiving seniors that are 85 and up, especially people with cognitive difficulties. And the beginning of the pandemic was even more harder than ever because there were no outlets. People couldn't go to adult daycare. They couldn't get home care in it. It was very complicated. So that's been fortified to and been utilized more now because again of the pandemic, that people didn't know that I was here to be able to do that. That's actually was my specialty. Did that for 25 years. So
Wow.
so we've really grown that program, and we've seen where we need to expand more too. So
And given that most of the programs are free or very low cost, how is the senior center funded?
the senior center gets a program expense budget that is part of the budget of the senior center, and it also gets a food expense budget. We are revenue neutral. However, in the food expense budget, we have been able to return pretty much all of the expense of the food. We're not making money on it, but we can give that back. With a program budget, when we were program expenses, when we were fully operational, and I'm sure this time will come back as I've over the last few years given money back because we haven't been in center doing as much. We used to make at least half or a little bit more of half of that money. So, the town has been very generous to us, but we also haven't asked for more in the last 5 years that we've been here. We have an incredibly wonderful community. There have been folks that have come in that done lecture series for us because we have such a wealth of talent and just prowess in this town. And so other folks have been able to take advantage of somebody coming in and running a 6-part series or doing our global discussions class and not charging us anything. So we try as much as we can when anybody comes in, if they're a Darienite, so this is a warning, we say, would you like to give this as a gift to the community? And very often folks will say yes. So it really helps us expand what we offer and not pass on the expense.
When COVID was at its height, you were doing programs virtually. How was it for the seniors to adapt to using virtual programs, Zoom, GoToMeeting, things like that?
Perfect segue into what's going to be happening with the ARPA funds that we're going to be receiving. We found that folks that were probably 85 and up were really struggling. And if we could connect them with grandchildren or other young people, because I remember in the beginning, we couldn't really even offer that help, except we started to bring people in and help them that had iPads or had a laptop. But what we want to do, this is going to be our goal moving forward. We're going to have an iPad lending library, and all of our PCs are going to be upgraded. IT is working on that right now. And we're going to have regular classes now to teach people how to use all of their devices. And then from there, hopefully have a little bit of an outreach for people that really need to have somebody come in and show them. I mean, I'll raise my hand right now. I'm not the most technologically adapted person, but I've had to get better at this as well. So I really understand the limitations. So we had volunteers that were helping us too. And then our new program specialist, who you haven't gotten to meet, is Stacy Johnson. And thank God Stacy has a lot of knowledge. So she was really our kingpin to getting us on everything virtual that we were able to adapt to. Also, the senior centers, the 14 of us, all the directors got together because of our wonderful area agency on aging. And we began to meet every Wednesday. So anything that Stanford offered, that Westwood offered, that Fairfield offered, that Trumbull offered, that Monroe offered, we were able to offer too. We all got together. There was no competition. It was all collaboration. So we all had each other in terms of being able to offer even more programming. Was another beautiful thing that came out of this is the sisterhood. Just happens to be we're all girls. but the sisterhood that got together with the senior center is really connecting and understanding each other's needs and helping each other with each community needs as well, even as a think tank. We met every Wednesday from March until we still now we meet once a month, but we were meeting every single Wednesday in the beginning of this. So that opened the virtual world up too. So we really need to have specific classes. And if there's any instructors or anybody who wants to, we know this one will have to be paid, that would want to offer like a couple of hours once a week. We want to start doing that once the computer room is revamped. And we're very excited about that.
Beth Paris is the director of the Darien Senior Center, which is attached to Town Hall on Renshaw Road. If you haven't been down there, you should go take a look at it. The first time I walked in there, it looked like a country club. I was really impressed, a little jealous perhaps too, but I qualify for membership. What does it take to become a member of the Darien Senior Center?
Right now, 55 and above, because we went with what ARP's recommendations were for what, though we know we don't have that many 55-year-olds attending. Where we do have 55-year-olds or in that younger sect is really with the caregivers. So that's been a wonderful addition. And basically it's anything, if somebody has an interest that we don't have here and it's a good interest, then we can develop it. We work on that as well. But you need to just be able to interact and participate in the programs independently, because that's one of the things about a senior center, a little different than an adult day environment. That being said, we do have some folks that come in that have a companion that will come in with them. They're able to, again, participate optimally in whatever that activity is, but they may need the assistance because of direction or some other reason that someone needs to be with them, because the staff that's full-time is just Stacy and I. We can't watch the whole building. So it doesn't mean that someone that has some sort of a limitation or need can't be here. It just means that they might have to have somebody with them depending on what that need is. But as long as they were able to benefit from whatever program, we have a lady out just getting 100 years old who comes for oil painting every Friday. And she needs assist just carrying this stuff in and getting her in the building and out of the building. She is a fascinating person. I think my neurons don't already synapse the way hers do. She's fabulous, but she needs physical assistance to be in the building. So there is somebody that comes in with her. But
people can just walk in and say, I'd like to sign up and become a member.
Exactly. Or they can go on our website and they can download the applications right there on the website. And that's another thing, Jim. Jim, you're great at this. You're helping me segue. One of the things that happened was we had to build up our ability to be seen on the internet as well. So online, we do have our own page, our menus up, our newsletters are up, and also how you can sign up for things is there too. The other thing that we went into was constant contact. Every single week, there is the highlight of what's going to happen in the following week, so people don't miss out. And again, this is for all people who have emails. During the pandemic, we went on robocalls, and everyone heard from me every Friday because we knew we had so many people that were just on the telephone. I cannot tell you the great joy and pleasure of when people started coming into the building and actually thought I was just calling them every Friday, and the hugs and the everything. And lots of that was, sometimes it was about programming, but sometimes it was just to keep people's morale up. I do have a sense of humor and a little bit of comedic timing. So we did a lot of that. And I can't tell you how many people appreciated it. Now I do it once a month. And there's some people that still wish I did every Friday. I don't do it every Friday. But again, another resource we had no idea was going to be so powerful was the robocall.
Well, I'm going to put the website address right down here at the bottom of the screen for the Darien Senior Center, where you can get much more information beyond what everything Beth has told you so far. Beth Paris, our guest today. She is the director of the Darien Senior Activity Center. I think that's the full name, which is located in the Mather Center attached to Darien Town Hall. And I'm sure she would love to have you stop by and learn more about their operations. Beth, I want to thank you so much for being on the program again, and thank you for all you do for the seniors in this town.
Thank you for this wonderful opportunity and for being such a great interviewer. Because
Oh,
you led the interview.
flattery will get you everywhere. Thank you, Beth. I appreciate it.
All
And
right.
thank you, our faithful viewers, for watching another edition of Community Matters.